a hypothetical, imagined worldview, and that's because really the whole position is absurd and imagined. I mean, I'm arguing a very specific thing about transcendentals in this
the
world.
machine I'm talking to you about are human beings. It's not an absurd world. The world I'm talking about
That's a
is
paradigm
real world.
assumption that you think humans are merely biological machines.
Yep. Do you have evidence that I'm made of anything else than an atom, than a set of molecules?
This is ridiculous. You believe you wrote your book. So your book was the work of JF and JF's mind, right? It wasn't the process of a determined machine, right?
It was the process of a determined machine. It was the process of the neurons in my mind.
You didn't have, and you're not making your own arguments right now. They're just a chemical determined process.
Absolutely.
So you're not making arguments. Thank you. I've won the debate.
All right. Bye.
The scientific method cannot justify the scientific method. Therefore, it itself is a dogmatic religious presupposition.
Okay, well, I look forward to it. I heard your debate with Nicholas Fuentes, and I thought that was very entertaining, and so I respect your debate skills, that's for sure.
Well, thank you. I've yet to lose a debate, actually.
Isn't this interesting? This is what the atheist has to fall back on, is this most absurd, hypothetical, imagined worldview, and that's because really the whole position is absurd and imagined. I mean, I'm arguing a very specific thing about transcendentals in this world.
The machine I'm talking to you about are human beings. It's not an absurd world. The world I'm talking about
is a paradigm assumption that you think humans are merely biological machines.
Yep. Do you have evidence that I'm made of anything else than an atom, than a set of molecules?
This is ridiculous. You believe you wrote your book. So your book was the work of JF and JF's mind, right? It wasn't the process of a determined machine, right?
It was the process of a determined machine. It was the process of the neurons in my mind.
You didn't have, and you're not making your own arguments right now. They're just a chemical determined process.
Absolutely.
So you're not making arguments. Thank you. I've won the debate.
All right. Bye.
The scientific method cannot justify the scientific method. Therefore, it itself is a dogmatic religious presupposition.
Okay. Well, I look forward to it. I heard your debate with Nicholas Fuentes, and I thought that was very entertaining, and so I respect your debate skills, that's for sure.
Well, thank you. I've yet to lose a debate, actually.
What's up? All right. Welcome, welcome. Can you hear me okay? Everybody hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear? Open your ears. Can you hear me? I don't know why the chat's always behind. Yes, okay, good. We're good. All right. So many requests for video game analysis. What's up, bro? How y'all doing? What's up, William? What's up, Ron? What's up, Nano Nerd? What's up, Indigenous Kvi? What's up, Kevin Carter 2020? More like Kevin Carter 420. What's up, Rolf Gunner Ragnarok? What's up, Bardo, Foyer, Nicole, Morgan, Yes, Queen, Josh Barron, calling in from Austin, Texas. You're on the line. FEMA region number 6, Villa Gruno. What's up? What's up, kid? What's up, Sick Nothing, Loathsome Creature? What's up, Ipso Facto? What's up, Ver the Furnier? What's up, Glenda Lau Orthodox? What's up, Citizen G? Excuse me. What's up? All you Russian bots, KGB up in the house. So, anyway, it turns out one of those clips I used was a copyrighted clip. Who cares about the stupid ass copyright on those dumb, worst clips of all time that I put into my video? I'm talking about where I was acting like a Slav. My Soviet commentary comedy video. Somebody put a damn, it's not a copyright strike, but a copyright claim on one of those ridiculous videos. What's up, Kev Baker? Kev Baker show in the house. Been a long time since I was on with Kevin Baker. We had it wasn't Everything Is Terrible though. It's whoever made one of those clips that Everything Is Terrible put up, and they copyrighted that stupid ass video. Anyway, so what happens is when you do that, the algorithm doesn't like your video as much. So that's what happened. I still think my video is funny. Go watch my video, yes, and tell me if you think it's funny. I think it's funny. A lot of the younger kids, they don't know who Yakov Smirnoff is, so they didn't get the joke. But in my country, we have bread line, and wait in line to get bread. In your country, you have bread line, meaning money line. Wait in line to get money bread. Yakov was total Cold War boomer humor. And by the way, I was in Hot Springs a couple years ago, and Yakov was there. I didn't get to meet him, but he was performing in Hot Springs. So there's still the Cold War boomer comedians doing their thing. So we're going to talk about video games because of a zillion requests to talk about video games. And I'm not a huge gamer, but I play video games here and there for fun. My life is mainly, Jay's analysis and books and all that kind of stuff. But I have enjoyed video games on the side here and there. A little side piece. A little bit of side piece with my we waifu girlfriends, my virtual girlfriend side pieces. I got me a Japanese pillow. What do they call those pillows? A wife pillow. My little side piece. My little virtual bits. A reminder that I will be at this event July 2nd, 2019, Tuesday. The doors open at 5:30. The film begins at 6. Now, remember, this is already probably sold out. If you want to come to this event and hang out, if you missed the movie, just come a little bit after the movie and chill with everybody. You don't have to come to the movie. So I'll be there. Boiler Room crew will be there. Aaron and Melissa Dykes will be there. Catherine Austin Fitz will be there. Probably some other people. I don't even know who. I will be the C-tier celebrity there. So there'll be like Aaron and Melissa up at the top. Then there'll be Catherine Austin Fitz. And then there'll be Boiler Room crew. And then like down little bitty tiny minuscule letters that says also featuring Jay's analysis. But I will have books. I'll be signing books and you can come talk to me. I know every time, and I don't mind it. It's just funny. But when we do the events, what happens is giant lines of people with 1,000 theological and philosophic questions. So you're welcome to do that. After the movie showing, I will be signing books and answering and talking to everybody about 1,000,000 theological, philosophical questions. Anyway, so that event is going to be a lot of fun. We had the event a few weeks ago, and it was a lot of fun. We had 60, 70 people show up throughout the day. We only promoted that for a week, and we had 60, 70 people show up. We had 30 people come to the steak dinner. It was pretty based and ballsy and fun. Oh, I forgot Silent Hill, dude. Yeah, we might have to do more of these in the future. I couldn't figure out the best way to do this because I thought, well, maybe I should just make a video. And then I was like, there's too many things to talk about and videos. I don't know. So I just decided live streams seemed to be the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to be trying also a little bit of playing the clip, which, when I do my live streams, I don't usually play clips because of, is it boomer stuff? Kind of. It's just annoying. It's a hassle. I like to get into my flow, my stream of consciousness, and be redonkulous on my own and not be distracted by a bunch of tech stuff. That's why I need like tech geeks behind me, like an army of Jay's Analysis nerds back here running all the tech stuff, so I could just be me. So I could just be myself. So I could let my heart open up to you guys. We already got some super chats pouring in. Love that. Thank you guys so much. Yes, I am an E-celeb. In my mind, I'm an A-tier E-celeb. In reality, I'm a C-tier E-celeb. Third rank billing at the Minds of Men event. But you got to see Minds of Men if you've never seen it. Go watch it. The theater's already sold out, but you can come hang out at the after party, as R. Kelly calls it. It will not be an R. Kelly style after party. Nobody getting pee-peed on. No pee-pee gates. None of that mess. I don't think. Hopefully. Unless Hesher and Spore decide to pee-pee on everybody. But I don't think they will. They're not that kind of person. It's the remix to Ignition. Hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body. Got every man in here wishing. Sipping on smoking rum. I'm like, so what? I'm drunk. And after the party, it's the after party. Anyway, so let's get into our first game. Now, what we're going to see is that Platonism and Kabbalism dominate most of these games. And there are reasons for that. I'm going to be talking about some of that. So what's on my notes here. Oh, let's talk about Owen's analysis. Let's kick this off with Owen Cyclops. Okay, so Owen did this popular based Twitter analysis. He did all this on Twitter. I'm like, bro, how did you write all this on Twitter? So he starts with 64. So let's go through Owen's and see what we agree with, if we disagree. I read some of this when he posted it a few months ago, back in December, I guess. And this got a lot of reshares and people were talking about it. Everybody sent it to me. So Owen Cyclops, if you don't know his Twitter, it's Owen Broadcast is his handle, at Owen Broadcast. And so let's start with Mario 64. Is there an esoteric element to Mario 64? Let's see what Owen's arguments are. He says, Super Mario 64 is a Freemasonic Illuminist digital ritual. Is it perhaps, Owen, playing upon the groundbreaking thesis of Esoteric Hollywood 1 and Esoteric Hollywood 2, that perhaps not just movies as movies, but that they might also be rituals? Well, that is the thesis of the Esoteric Hollywood award-winning series, given the award of 2 best books of all time by the Internet Book Foundation, run by myself, which if you don't have signed copies, you can get those at Jay's Analysis, by the way. Where was I? Oh yeah, Owen stuff. So let's see if Owen can convince us we ascended esoteric masters of his thesis. Owen, by the way, has, as you know, moved towards the directions of orthodoxy. He has, or at least that's what I have been told. I think he mentioned it. He mentioned that at one point, and that he enjoys Seraphim Rose. So he says the game begins in the Masonic Hall. And I would say yes. Nintendo does seem to have a history of enjoying Freemasonry and these kinds of things. So we've got the checkered floorboard. It does look like a Masonic Hall. I'm sure Masonic lodges don't have this, maybe in Japan, the Masonic lodges have all Mario characters on the wall. It's like, that's the Masonic lodges. That's what they look like in Japan. They look like Mario. Let's see. So the coins in the game are pentacles, and they are the coins from the tarot deck. And then you have to climb up the staircase and open up the doorway. It's been forever since I played Mario 64, but I do remember this. Now that could be. You do got to get keys and stuff, right? Yeah. So let's see. Where's this? Let's put this one up. They do resemble the pentacles. Yeah, I could see that. All right, so he's got me so far. They are the coins from the tarot deck. In the game, you play Mercury. You're the character with the winged fancy hat. With your hat got wings. Okay, maybe. Does Mario's hat have wings at one point? Perhaps. I can't remember. But so you got to climb up this mountain. That's the first, your starting out level. Winds up the giant mountain. This is a common occult image of ascending the mountain. Yeah, okay. Perhaps I could buy that. At the top of this mountain is the king, the bomb king, who Mario has to battle and dethrone. Okay. The second level is the floating sky world. Japan has essentially been under nefarious Illuminati S4 control for some time. Yes, particularly. Well, I don't know about definitely World War II, but then you could look at the elites that have run Japan prior to that, which there's a whole chapter in Quigley where he says that the big companies from Japan, the big corporations that everybody knows, these are essentially just the old cartel mob families, the elite that have always run Japan. They just turned into corporations. I cover that in the Tragedy and Hope lectures. If you've not been through the Tragedy and Hope lecture series, you can subscribe at Jay's Analysis and listen to that whole series. 1,300-page book that I dissect for you in 8 lectures of 16 hours. The halves of those lectures are free. The full lectures are, of course, based on subscription. So I don't know but does this floating city correspond to Japan's floating city? Perhaps. That seems to be a prevalent theme in anime, right? With Miyohaze. But I didn't know that the history of Japan has ukiyo, floating world. And it describes the urban lifestyle and the pleasure-seeking elite of the Edo period in Japan between 1600 to 1870. So the elite degenerates of Japan, I guess. In this level, Mario meets the owl. This is the owl of Bohemian Grove, he says. Okay, perhaps. We see the owl on the dollar bill. It is Athena. Yep, sure. The owl drops you into a caged island, and you must consider that groups like Skull and Bones do ritual magic with each other. Perhaps. I don't know if Skull and Bones itself gathers to do ritual magic, but I mean, they definitely have that theme in their initiation rituals as far as we know. And certainly many of them do believe that their actions are somewhat ritual in nature and that they can affect archetypal situations in the world and affect the psyche. In these rituals, he says they put you in a coffin and have you enact your own death. Yes, that's true. In this level, Mario descends into the sunken pirate ship, and he goes to, descending into the depth of the water and comes back again, as pirates themes are also some. Yes, we've talked many times about the Jolly Roger, to use the terminology of Jordan Maxwell, the Jolly Roger. That's actually true, right? And if you've not read my Goonies analysis, I explain all of that in Esoteric Hollywood too in my based Goonies analysis. Hey, you guys. The Knights Templar are one link in this chain of secret societies. Yeah, okay. We know about the Templars. If you've not heard the talk I just did with Eric, go listen to the Illuminate Confirmed talk with Eric, where we cover the Templars. And that's how it ties into the pirate stuff. So I'm not going to rehearse all the pirate stuff. We'll grant Owen this part, yeah. Next, we come to the mountain level. How long is this, by the way? Owen put a lot of damn time into this. It's like he tweeted the whole game as he was playing it. That's wild, bro. Let's see. Next up is the snow mountain level. Okay. Antarctica. I'm not buying that this refers to Antarctica, although I will give Owen some creative points for taking this to a whole new level here with with this being his theory that it's related to the elite using Antarctica. That's pretty funny, actually. Yeah, we're going to get to Assassin's Creed on here. By the way, I forgot to put Assassin's Creed in the description, but it's on my list here. And I did do an analysis of Assassin's Creed, actually. Yes, by the way, thank you, Kevin Baker, for that reminder. If you don't know about the Kev Baker Show, check out Kev Baker Show. And if you guys want to help support what I'm doing here, be sure to smash that like button. All right, so here's every YouTuber. What's up, YouTube? I want to remind you guys, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up, be sure to share it, and let's fight that algorithm. Now, on to the video. Every damn YouTube video, right? Every one of these goofballs on YouTube. That was my impersonation of every YouTuber. So, yeah. Don't do what? Don't impersonate every YouTuber? Thank you for those super chats. We will be taking super chats today, by the way. And anyway, so I just want to make sure that everything's good. Sometimes you'll be talking and you don't want to talk for an hour and then like the sound's not going through or whatever. So I don't buy the Antarctica section. By the way, Aaron and Melissa have a really awesome Antarctica documentary that they did. That's like their top video now with like 13 million views. And I, in a pale form of imitation, tried to make an Antarctica video, which I actually think my video is pretty good too, but certainly didn't. I got more like 13,000 views, but I'm catching up to them. In 10,000 years, my video will hit 13 million views. But so you can check out my Antarctica video as well, where I give my theory on Antarctica. My theory is that there's something that conflicts with maybe the Darwinian mythos and narrative that is in Antarctica that they probably want to suppress. That's just my speculation. Can't prove that, but I wonder if it isn't something like that. Okay, let's get back to Owen here. So we climbed through the grand hall, climbed the mountain. We killed the king. The owl has submerged us in the water. We're rebuilt. We found a severed head and a rebuilt body. Okay, Mario's moving on to the next stage in the ritual. Mario processes down a long hall into a courtyard. Here, Mario is given a special niche altar, and there's a star on the altar. He is in the shadow behind the castle. Yeah, so it's a star altar. Okay. Inside the baptismal fountain with 8 sides, an octagonal baptismal fountain, maybe. We see another pyramid with a capstone. It could be. I mean, I'll show you what he's talking about here. I mean, it's possible that because Masonry tries to look at all different religions and blend them all together, it's possible that they also took the idea of the octagonal baptismal font. I mean, they do stuff like that. Like they try to say, Orthodox saints, people from church history, they were secretly Masons and all this kind of nonsense. And yeah, that's a capless pyramid with a star up there. Okay, but I don't know if that's a baptismal font. Missing capstone is the missing phallus of Osiris. Yes, that's definitely from Masonry. I've mentioned this before. He's dismembered. Yes, we know the Osiris myth for sure. This is what the obelisk is in the mystery religions. The missing capstone is also the missing piece and the lost word of Freemasonry, correct? When Isis finds this piece, she can reconceive her. When she finds her lost dong, she found that lost dong. Where'd I put my dong at? Where is that dong? Then she can conceive her son Horus from the remade Osiris. Yes, so it's like a resurrection mythos. This is chocolate, by the way. On this plaque, it says something that most people, I think it says L is real, and then a number. I wouldn't really purport that this is the case, but some guy wrote a letter to Nintendo, and the letter says that it's a meaningless joke that they put in there for no reason. The meaningless joke is L is real. What could that number that we can't see be? AL, Anno Lucis, which is, of course, how Masonry does dating. If you look at a lot of Masonic cornerstones, they date things by the Masonic calendar, which, by the way, is not dated in Darwinian numbers. Nor is the Byzantine calendar, if you are not aware. I recommend for all of those who hate Christianity and Orthodoxy so much, and I'm speaking of those even within the church that are duped by Darwin, I recommend that you look at this interesting article at Ortho Christian about the Byzantine calendar. Just something worth pondering and looking at. But that's not really what we're going for here. All right, so Owen goes on to say, in this level, Mario descends into the world of the booze, the ghosts. Mario's not descending into a life of debauchery and booze. The booze, the ghosts. In the secret society rituals I'm discussing, you die in a symbolic way in the coffin and you're reborn. And here he shows Mario in a kind of coffin scene. In this level, there's giant all-seeing eyes that watch you. That's true. They circumambulate you. Okay. But he says that's a ritual. No, I don't know. Just because something's going in a circle doesn't make it a ritual. In this level, you have to run underneath the coffins. I think Owen might at times be a little tongue-in-cheek in some of this. I mean, some of this is kind of Masonic, but I don't know about all of it. And then you get locked in a coffin. Yep. Mario descends then to the lowest point in the castle, where he heads far down and walks to a hall of torchlights. And then you see another Masonic checkerboard, and you see paintings of fireballs at the end. They look demonic. Who is this flaming fireball face? It's not Bowser. Something they made up for no reason. We don't know. In another place, you go down to another level, and there's a small hallway, and you see a room with 2 pillars just sitting there. Is this Jacob and Boaz? Probably. I mean, sometimes 2 pillars can just be 2 pillars, but sometimes it is Jacob and Boaz. So here's his image of you see the 2 pillars here on the sides. Probably Jacob and Boaz. I'd say it's probably. I mean, we do have obvious, Masonic themes going on here. Let's see. So then he moves on to say, in the game, they are called the Pillars. That's correct. So there's actually a scene where it calls them the Pillars. And then it says the next level is the cave. Mario was just in the world of death. Now he's going into a cave, another archetypal symbol of death and rebirth. Yes, that's Dante's Inferno. It's Descent, right? If you book 6 of the Odyssey, right? Book 6 of the Aeneid, you have the Ascent. The Descent. You have the Descent in Homer as well. This is archetypal. And then Mario, so here's where it gets to be, he calls it Mercury Quicksilver. Mario becomes like Mercury Quicksilver. This is true, and he runs really fast. But I would say what he's missing is alchemy. So far, he's not mentioned alchemy, and that's a big part of this, is the alchemical aspect. Oh man, I just messed up. Crap. Dang it. Oh, wait, here we go. I'm trying to share this GIF. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't think I can. Anyway, so there's a GIF of Mario running around like Mercury. This is the metal that Metal Mario is based on. It's malleable, yes, but that is alchemy. So, in alchemy, you go through these 4 stages. And the 4 stages don't just relate to metallurgy. They also relate to the macro scale of where the world is going, the magnum opus. They also relate to the individual, his process of transformation over the stages of his life. Let's see. I was going to list the 4 stages for you. What is this crap? That's not what I want. Yeah. So you have basically the Negrito stage, which is the blackening stage of necrosis or dying. You have the Albedo stage, which is the process after death. The whitening. You have the Citrinitus stage, which is the yellowing or the xanthosis. And then you have the Rubido stage, which is the reddening. So you go through this process of alchemy. And if you don't know, what alchemy would eventually become is chemistry, right? Alchemy, right, from the Arabic term. I think it was a guy, wasn't it? Alchemy. And eventually it becomes chemistry from alchemy. So Owen is on the right track here, but he should have mentioned the alchemical aspect to this, because that's huge. Let's see. So Mario gets the red cap, and he becomes the mythological Mercury. For a long time, people knew that when they were seeing an image of a man with a winged hat, they were looking at the image of Mercury or Hermes. So yes, so Mario does get the winged cap, as you see here, and he is mercurial. So yes, good argument there, Owen. And he's just turned into Quicksilver. Literally. He's literally turned into Mercury. I did what analysis did I? Oh, Blade Runner. If you've not seen my Blade Runner analysis, this is exactly what I do with Blade Runner. Where I do it in an alchemical way. And this was in Esoteric Hollywood 1. This is a lot of people's favorite analysis that I did was Blade Runner. And long ago, one of the early analyses that I wrote at Jay's Analysis was Blade Runner, and then it goes into the alchemy. And you have the Mercury character very prominent in Blade Runner. It's a neat analysis. So if you don't have that, definitely. I also did two videos on Blade Runner too, so you can go watch those. Why do my Blade Runner videos not have 500,000 views? They should, right? Mario Illuminate. Illuminate, confirm Mario. All right, let's see. Where was Owen going next? So so far he's convincing me. He's got a good case here. Look, I give him a little bit of a. I'll give it a B+ so far. Let's see. So Nintendo, he says, is very specific about what imagery that they include in their games. Sometimes they break these rules for certain games like Zelda. Zelda, by the way, the Triforce is that's Kabbalistic. This is interesting, but I don't want you to detour too hard at this time. Why Mercury, though? Mercury is the pagan god, and it's found in the Kabbalistic occult arena as the force or energy that is about navigating between the realms and traveling between worlds. Correct. Traveling between the subterranean layers to the celestial realms, he is the messenger of the gods. Correct. This doesn't mean that these people believe in a god called Mercury. These are loose concepts. Correct. That's what Crowley mentions at one point. He says, whether all these things are real, I don't know, but we'll act like they are. And here's where he draws this out. So you have the various schemes that use this whole Kabbalistic thing. And we'll be referring back to that whole Kabbalistic map here in a bit. That's his. Here's the one that I had. Because we'll see how similar this is to Platonism. Right? So people freaking, oh, Kabbalism. It's just Platonism, dude. And that's why we refute Platonism. So then he goes on, Owen says, the precedent for using a game like this as a dramatic ritual is well documented. For example, the Golden Dawn has a ritual where they, in their magic, where they do an occult work and they play Rosicrucian chess or Enochian chess. Yes, that's true. And actually, game theory itself comes out of the world of cryptography. If you read my essay, there's 2 I did on this. One I put a shit ton of time into, and I don't know if people found it too obtuse, but not a whole lot of people have read my big essay on cryptography and its connection to the esoteric. But there's the first essay that I did on this is this one. Leibniz plus John Dee equals Gollum computers. And in that essay, if you go read that, you'll get how Leibniz relates to this stuff. Golems, computers, etc. And then my other essay is Cryptography of the Cryptocracy. And I go into the reasons why. I'll share it with you guys here. But the discipline and science of cryptography, which is where we get computers, right, goes back to the esoteric. John Dee, which, by the way, is going to explicitly come up in another game here in a little bit. Mr. John Dee and his Enochian language and magic. Cryptography of the Cryptocracy of Gods and Computers. You should read these 2 essays I did if you haven't read them, because it vindicates what I'm talking about. It also vindicates kind of what Owen's arguing as well. So by the way, I'll put these in the, and I actually cite some papers from the NSA in these essays. I'm not just talking on my butt like you think. So there. I'll put that in there if you guys want to read that later. By the way, we're taking super chats if you guys want to offer up some super chats. But let's go to the next argument from Owen. Liber Null and Psychonaut discuss using technology in ritual magic. I don't know who he means by Psychonaut. I mean, I know what a Psychonaut is, but I don't know what he's talking about there. Going to work. Okay, then he picks up later. He says, the next level is a gate called the Hazy Maze Cave. It is a subterranean labyrinth. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of yellow smoke that chokes Mario. This is sulfur. Sulfur, brimstone. Yep. Sulfur is one of the primes. According to Paracelsus, that's correct. By the way, if you've not looked at the treatise, you can buy the works of Paracelsus. They're pretty interesting. I'm not advocating for them. They're just basically Neoplatonism. But he goes into talking about the 3 primes, which is interesting. And I actually have read Paracelsus. So, material in Paracelsus' system, material bodies are composed of mercury, salt, sulfur, mind, body, spirit. Now, I don't really know that. I'm not saying that system is correct. That's just what was in that system. Ogopogo, by the way. Oh, it's a GIF. Damn it. Now I just lost the whole list. There we go. Ogopogo, which is one of the funny X-File episodes. They throw in some cryptozoology. On this level, you ride the blue sea creature. They make you ride a beast. I'm not going to buy that's riding the woman rides a beast. But anyway. You meet Toad, a bunch of mushroom men. Shrooms. I don't know. All right, so then we have the fire level. Blah, blah, blah. And then the next level is the pyramid. The last chthonic subterranean death level is the desert. It corresponds to the Kabbalistic path of Tifereth and Keter. And it's a camel crossing the abyss. Okay, so you got to cross the abyss and get to the pyramid. Definitely the pyramids are esoteric, no doubt about that. The last level before Mario goes into the higher levels of this castle is the Dyer docks. Dyer docks. If you remember, this level is kind of weird. When you start floating in the air, you're dropped in the water, and the level is really oddly designed, so you have to swim under and come up elsewhere. Yeah, I remember that. And he calls this a kind of a baptism. Okay, yeah, I could see that. And then he says, now Mario goes up to the higher levels of the castle. These are all much lighter and brighter. Yeah, this is Gnostic system, right? As you go up, things get lighter. This game has a classic pagan, shamanic, platonic, three-tiered world structure of the celestial realm, the earthly realm, and the underworld. That's all the ancient stories have that three-tiered structure. The Bible has that three-tiered structure. Let's see. Let's see. It says you go to a mirror and you observe that there's a guy in the camera who's been watching you the whole time from behind this mirror. This guy is introduced for a second time the game starts, but this time the first time you see him during the gameplay, and the game forces you to notice passively and interact with him. Blah blah blah. This dramatic ritual does not require observers, but these people. I'm not sure. I don't understand what he's saying here. This is the power they seek to harness by encoding these themes into the media. Oh, like he's saying, like they're watching you, like this little guy in the GIF is watching you. I'll show you this guy. I don't remember what these things are called, but yeah, I mean, ultimately the video games were all created by the Pentagon for training, social engineering, and surveillance. So yeah, pretty much. I've always thought that they were, like watching and recruiting. We know they recruit people on the basis of, like how good they are at certain games. Dude, move on. Who cares about Mario? Well, I mean, this is like the most popular franchise in the history of the world for video games. So if you want to mute me for car insurance videos, then go for it, bro. But I wanted to read this analysis. That's the kind of analysis we do here, by the way. You can get out of here. This kind of analysis that we do here is real analysis. All right, so then he moves on. So he says that's panopticism. Okay, we can see that. I have a few more things to mention, but they're too controversial. Let's see, does he mention any more? Yeah, so does Mario get powers? So say he moves on to talk about Mario kind of gaining occult powers, maybe. There's a flood level, giant rainbow, another Masonic floor. Lastly, spoiler if you've never beaten the game, the last thing that you do is meet Yoshi on the roof of the castle. Many have correctly pointed out that Yoshi is a dragon or a serpent. Maybe. That's it. Thank you for coming to his TED Talk. Yeah, I would buy that the overall themes there, according to Owen, were Masonic. That was pretty on point. I would give him a B+ in that analysis. He did bring in alchemy eventually, so he gets a point for that. But yeah, Mario 64. And by the way, Nintendo's had a whole bunch a history of doing this kind of stuff, like weird esoteric themes in Mario. So let's move on to what's next on my list. Now, I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed back in the day, not a whole lot, but I found this video. Where'd I put it? Maybe I didn't find an Assassin's Creed clip. No, I did. It was the trailer for one of the Assassin's Creeds. So we're going to try to do a video. Maybe my boomer tech skills will work. Come on. The computer's being slow. Well, crap. Deus Ex, Warcraft, Tomb Raider. Okay, I'll tell you what. While I'm looking for that, we're going to watch this RT clip that I found first. And then I'm going to look for the Assassin's Creed thing. So this is relevant to what we're talking about.
Pentagon's are still spending huge amounts of dollars to convince young Americans to sign up for the army. Its close ties with Hollywood and the video games industry is helping to turn military service into an attractive deal. Of course, along with the economic crisis and unemployment working alongside. RT's Anastasia Cherkina reports on how it's all playing out for America's youth.
A hunt for American youth to hunt down the next American enemy. War Incorporated, a robust business machine, is operating at full capacity in the U.S.
Get the strength to change the way people see you. There's strong, and then there's Army Strong.
From televised ads to Hollywood blockbusters, to video games, to American presidents dubbing soldiers the real patriots.
Each of them adds honor to what it means to be a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, and Coast Guardsman.
The image of the American warrior is portrayed as that of the invincible hero.
Times Square, one of the #1 entertainment spots in the Big Apple, attracts millions from around the world and across the U.S. Apart from the flashy lights and the billboards, there's a recruitment center right here, one of hundreds just in New York.
The mesmerizing techniques luring young Americans into serving are more sophisticated than ever before.
Sponsoring video game tournaments and paintball tournaments, and then going up to these young kids who perform well and say, hey, the U.S. military needs you. We see your skills at this video game. And of course, to a young 15 or 16 or 17-year-old, this is something that's very enticing.
It's a cruel and deceptive type of recruitment. They want to use all the hippest tools they can to make being in the military as cool as possible.
Now a cinematographer, Edward Pages dedicated 10 years to being a U.S. soldier. He thought it was the honorable thing to do.
If they presented the military for what it was, I don't think anyone would join.
But they do join, having played one computer game and seen one war movie too many.
There's no second chances when you're actually out there and your life is at risk for something that most of these young men have no idea really the true reasons why they're even out there.
By the time some of these reasons are realized,
to expand military influence and domination in these regions of the world that are currently off limits to U.S. imperialism.
It is often too late.
The problem is that a lot of these kids don't know once they get in, it's hard to get out.
For some, the way out is suicide. A military report says 80% of soldiers in Afghanistan have seen a friend killed or injured. Yet nothing stops the military propaganda campaign. A dire economy at home also comes in handy for the Pentagon.
There's a joke in the military that the best recruiter is an economic downturn.
And that recruiter is raging on.
What happened after 2008 that solved their problem was the desperation of millions of Americans. We had an economic crisis. We've had unemployment zoom up.
No matter the times, the power of the Pentagon seems eternal, meaning luring in more young Americans into more wars with no happy end or game over in sight. Anastasia Churkina, RT, New York.
All right, so I've been looking for this damn clip for like 30 minutes. It took me forever to find it because the way search engines work now, you can't find clips. So they basically don't work. The search engines work now to bury clips is what the whole purpose of them is. So I had to remember this Sherlock Holmes level labyrinth of where the clip was posted.
Been looking for this damn clip for like 30 minutes.
And now I'm talking over me. Shut up, dude. Shut up, dude. Anyway, so here I want you to watch this clip while I go whiz. I'm only human. I'm only human.
It's back in a big way. After years of falling sales and irrelevance, Call of Duty is going back to its roots. It'll be more shocking, more morally ambiguous than ever before, with Russians so evil you wouldn't believe. Surprise! A Russian Su-25 jet, there it is, apparently bombing civilians. In the next scene, white helmets, the rescue wing of Syria's jihadist rebels are seen helping injured civilians out of rubble, just like in their real-life propaganda reels.
The Syrian first responders who risk their lives to save others in war-torn Aleppo.
In the face of unrelenting brutality, heroes have emerged.
They have all chosen to risk their lives to save others.
Now, it's only a trailer, but something tells me we won't see the ugly side of the white helmets. I doubt we'll see them disposing of freshly executed corpses for Islamist terrorists. I doubt we'll see them waving Al-Qaeda flags as they do in real life. I doubt we'll see them staging chemical weapons attacks. What I don't doubt is that the Russians will be portrayed doing things that would put Satan himself to shame, at least going by what those who've already played the game are saying.
We saw gameplay from the perspective of a young Farah, the girl who would eventually grow up to be the commander of the rebel forces. Fleeing from the invading Russian army, Farah and her family are eventually cornered by a soldier who kills her father.
We see Karim crawling under a bed and scurrying around her house to take down a long-headed Russian soldier with little more than a screwdriver.
To be fair, it's only a game. Artistic license and all that. No relation to real-life events, people, or politics. It's just a video game for young, malleable, impressionable kids, showing imaginary Russians invading, bombing civilians, murdering civilians, gassing civilians, and being killed in turn by the protagonist. And the white helmets virtually copy-pasted from CNN into Call of Duty. Coincidence. Totally.
What we say is, what defines a terrorist is in the eye of the beholder. This is not a black and white world.
Oh, so ISIS bombing an airport in Europe doesn't necessarily mean it's terrorism. That's like real life, dude. We all decide what's good and what's bad.
All right, well,
like
you get the point. So the new Call of Duty has this nonsense in it, right? So let's move on to the next one on my list. I cannot find, oh yeah, Assassin's Creed. So let's watch this Assassin's Creed clip. Let's get Mario out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. Move all this crap out of the way. And, damn it. Now, I do have an analysis of Assassin's Creed. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Because, I mean, I know it's the game's a little different than the Goofy movie, but it's still relevant. So, let's watch this trailer, and then we'll do an analysis of this.
For the help that never came. You want it darker.
So now it's all going to get demonetized because of this. Is it Leonard Cohen? So I'm trying to lower the Leonard Cohen song here. Or whatever this is. It's all going to get demonetized because of this. Is it Leonard? All right, so Egypt. We're back to Egypt. I thought Assassin's Creed was, you know, like Arabic. No, I guess not. It's Egypt. Yep. So there goes the. So with Templars, what we got going here is the whole idea of the order being suppressed by the Pope and the Frankish king over supposedly them being occultists. Now, they probably were. We talk about this in the stream that I did with Eric the other day. Watch the Illuminate Confirmed stream. He's a historian who's been researching this. So we go into the actual history of the Illuminati and all that stuff. And we covered the Templars pretty in depth. So anyway, that's that clip. That clip was kind of stupid. But so, I mean, they just can't, not use the Egyptian imagery because it's so overtly Masonic. Now, in the movie Assassin's Creed, which was goofy, but was so overt, right? It was like, where's my Assassin's Creed? I got... Oh, man. Oh, I got it pulled up here. Okay, so... they actually reference... the whole final scenes are shot inside the lodge. So I'm going to read some of this. My analysis of Assassin. Now, this video game turned film blended everything from transhumanism to the Templars, right? It seems that Hollywood and the video game industry are obsessed with conspiracy culture, even though now it's supposed to be banned. It's everywhere. This is not organic or happenstance development. If you watch The Kingsman, you saw Templarism was everywhere, related to British intelligence operations and Freemasonry. Going back to Dan Brown, this has been everywhere in pop culture. Templars are on the search for the mythical apple of Eden, which is a new twist on the standard tale of paleotechnology, ancient technology that the gods had that we're trying to recover. We generally see heroes searching after this and a lot of things with a lot of glowing blue cotton candy cubes and shards of mystical space essences that somehow relate to Nikola Tesla. For the Templars, in this incarnation, we have the bold presentation of Luciferianism. Free will is said to be bound up with the apple, as if you didn't get free will until that's just retarded. Dialectical definition of free will. The disobedience of Adam and Eve, and this leads to an old rotten apple core with the acid of some other mystical cipher code device that will result in the power to control all freedom of thought. Perhaps the original Pentagon makers of the internet itself, as well as video games, discovered a means to control free thought, and it's called a video game. The immersion in a fully Matrix-like interface. Our Brotherhood of Assassins stand at the Hashashim, right? This, by the way, was in John Wick 3. Stand in the way of the secrets of free will and mind control, we're told. But I was feeling more and more like I was watching Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Weren't those brothers guarding the Grail? Indeed, it seems more and more that films are melding with video games. Yes, I've been talking about this for a long time. Callum, played by Michael Fassbender, is a death row convict who's sentenced to death and who is saved by the Abstergo Foundation, which is a modern front for the Templars, very similar to the Umbrella Corporation in Resident Evil. Interestingly, corporate shells and fronts and CIA upper echelon are called the Illuminati, and they do essentially use these foundations, as we discuss in many of my essays and works. In a Matrix-like uplink, Callum enters the Animus, that's from Platonism, right, the soul of the world, which is mirrored in the virtual realms, which is the internet, the web, the noosphere, which are the memories of selected people in this story, long dead, based on the encoded information in their DNA. Now, there's some truth to genetic memories and all that, right? I think that's true. Dr. Sophia, played by Marianne Cotillard, Sophia, the Gnostic principle, reveals that Callum is being sent back to search for this apple that is the secret to free will. Gnostic and Luciferian elements here are so blatant they cannot be missed, as both Sophia and the Luciferian principle are necessary corollaries of one another. In the Pistis Sophia, which is the Gnostic principle of wisdom, a Gnostic text, the Gnostic text called the Pistis Sophia, it is the syzygy, or the supposed feminine side of God and Christ, split, right? So it's basically just paganism. Sophia is generally presented as fallen in some way, being trapped by the demiurge in his creation of this lesser prison world. The material world is considered a lesser aeon, a lesser world, lower down on the spheres, the layers, the sections of the Kabbalah. At this juncture, the anima mundi, the soul of the world, should be mentioned, since these concepts relate to Platonism and Carl Jung. In Jung, the anima and the animus are the corresponding archetypes in the collective unconscious. In a male, the opposite feminine appears as the anima. In a female, the masculine appears as the animus. In the film, the animus is the masculine representation of the ability to engage in logic and technology, and to represent and recreate the genetic memories of the past. Callum is thus its chief subject. The Abstergo Foundation is involved with the United Nations in fixing man's antisocial behaviors, which is all true. And like the social programs in Clockwork Orange that seek to cure man from his violence, turns out these things ultimately come from MKUltra in the real world. The elders in control of the Abstergo Foundation are the actual Illuminati, who fund the direct research of the foundation, who seek to master bloodlines and genetic engineering, and ultimately thus to find the apple, which is the genetic code for free will. Free will, the female elders decide, is the problem in man, which must be controlled, and the infiltration and usage of religion is now obsolete due to the prevalence of science. Scientism is the new religion. Callum is thus believed to be the living link between hereditary genetic bases for crime. So he's basically got the crime gene. So Callum, we learned, descends from the Aguilar, the assassins who were burned by the evil inquisitions for being who was burned by the evil inquisition for being a murderer. Dr. Sophia informs Callum that he is genetically predisposed to violence and crime. This is all right, the whole eugenics, determinist type worldview, biological social Darwinism, biological determinism. Everything is a genetic determined situation. So, by the way, this is so stupid because once you adopt this worldview, everyone is dehumanized, including you, right? You don't get points for adopting something like this. It doesn't make you elite. You're not more enlightened. Violence is explained to be a genetic disease, and like cancer, it is curable through external stimuli. This is the basis of all progressivism, all modern scientism, that everything that man is and everything that he does is a result of external stimuli. Utterly ridiculous. As if man doesn't have an inner being, and that as if his problem isn't his own sinfulness, right? Once you get rid of the soul, consciousness, these kinds of things, and you're just a determined bot, then there's no such thing as human rights. There's no such thing as morals. You are just a tool to be trampled by the state. By the way, we have 5 angry nerds, I don't know what they expected here, who have given me a thumbs down. And we got 109 thumbs up. Smash like if you enjoy this. Give me a thumbs up. And yes, so basically they are classical liberalists, but they're illuminists, right? So we're supposed to think that the real illuminists are the revolutionaries, and the evil illuminists are the ones that run the corporations and the Fortune 100 and all this stuff, which is all a bunch of nonsense. Anyway, God has been jettisoned, and now the secrets of nature are the new God that are embodied in technology and genetics. As a side note, isn't it interesting that Hollywood and the mass media indoctrinate us with the notion that your lineage and heritage don't matter, but you have to be concerned with your lineage and your heritage when you are fighting oppression and fighting all the evil oppressors who try to impose gender and things on you that don't exist, even though you can change your gender, which doesn't exist. The reality, of course, is that bloodlines only matter when they're the bloodlines of the elite. And these oligarchs are hell-bent on genetically ruining everyone else's bloodlines, namely eugenics, to make sure that you don't have any offspring. Genetic memories are a fascinating aspect that do, I think, they're possibly hinted at in the Bible. So we have the idea of being in Abraham's loins, right, before he was born. Passing on traits to one's offspring represents thus cutting-edge research. The absurdity of Darwinism, once again, is made evident because these notions are incompatible with mainline reductionistic materialism. The faux science that is fed to the masses is at the same time a goofy pop culture projection that we see in Assassin's Creed, but at the same time it teaches us and claims all these things about transhumanist concepts, like we're going to download your consciousness into a computer, although consciousness doesn't exist. So total nonsense. The whole system is predicated on nonsense. The masses are told that this pseudoscience of reductionistic materialism will solve all the problems at the same time that they're told there's no such thing as the soul and consciousness. At the same time that positive research is being conducted on the idea of genetic memories, memories aren't real. Right? Memories are just chemical reactions. They don't have any real meaning. Indeed, most scientists cannot replicate these so-called findings of their peers, even though the Scientific American writes that that genetic memories are real. By the way, that's a big part of the plot of this book. I mean, this movie, and it comes up somewhat in the movie, in the game too. So, by the way, keep pushing that thumbs up, because we got haters pushing thumbs down, and we got spam bots spamming nasty, dirty links. So we've deleted them. Does somebody else need to be deleted? Have we got? So because I asked for a thumbs up, now we're getting another thumbs down. What a bunch of dum-dums. I'm giving you such quality content. Anyway. In my essay, you will see the links to the papers on genetic memories. Now, these things don't exist, remember? Your lineage, your genes, those don't matter because you don't have any. Oh, but wait a minute. We're also going to be studying all these things at the same time. Anyway, so I move on. I talk about the assassins, the Hashashim. And we have the idea that the Catholic theologians, the Dominicans, are presented as these power-hungry monsters, when in fact, in actual history, the Inquisition, according to secular historian Henry Kamen, Kamen, maybe killed a couple thousand people. So, again, totally contrary to the mythology of what everybody thinks. My allergies are bugging me. Hold on one second. I'm going to put the air conditioning on. It's getting hot in here. All right, so nobody is more critical of Thomism than myself, but I have to admit they got some of this right, but not much else. Regardless of the absurdity in bringing home the fact that Dominicans are evil, why are the assassins good? Evil and good are relativized here, and so the game basically ends up being kind of a form of propaganda. In any case, Callum and his team of ghost assassins receives a revelation from his mother that nothing is true and everything is permitted. That is the dictum, supposedly, of the Hashashim, the famed assassins, right? Smoke some hash, bro, and enjoy your 70 virgins, bro, and become an assassin. And that is the descendants of the King of Jordan. Did you know that? And did you know that the King of Jordan is a CIA asset for a long time? That's public Time magazine, bro. The CIA is even declassified. You can go to the CIA website and read the declassified things about the King of Jordan being on the CIA payroll since the, 60s, 70s, somewhere in there. Relativism is the Luciferian gospel, right? So then anyway, the film, we'll speed through this. So this is going to take forever if I don't. So the film ends up in the giant Masonic Lodge in London at the Royal Society. Now, I know that we're talking about the movie and not the game, but this shows you that it's the same thing. They're talking about the same thing. There's no accident that this game ends, that this movie ends being filmed inside of the giant Masonic Lodge in London with the Royal Society present. And who is going to doubt the illuminate confirm when they're doing this kind of stuff? Right? So there's more in my essay. If you want to read the full treatment, you can go to, oh my God, is this thing still coming back? I banned this thing. How is it in here? Or is my chat is just catching up? Let's make sure that Pornbot gets banned here. Where's Pornbot? I think I did ban it. My chat is just kind of catching up, I think is what's going on here. Anyway, but yeah, so if you like this, please smash like. You can get my books, Esoteric Hollywood 1 and 2. The new one is just out. It's got all 5 stars. It is the bomb biggity, baby. You can get that at my website. Go to jaysanalysis.com. There's the shop at Jay's Analysis, and you can order signed copies. The advantage of getting it from my website is that they become collector's items that are worth much more money because they are signed by C-grade E-celebrity Jay Dyer himself. That's me. Anyway, so yes, you can go. Am I a libertarian? No. I have many critiques of libertarianism. But I do have some old essays where I go into the Hashashashim and we talk about this stuff. Let me show you real quick because people won't believe me, but King of Jordan. Now this doesn't, what kind of relates to what we're talking about, but it's just a side thing here. CIA asset, and that is declassified. Yes, at the CIA website. So as you can see, I know what I'm talking about. Because there'll be a lot of like probably gamer dudes that are kind of just running through and popping in and out that'll see this stream and they're like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? Who the fuck is this dude? Who the fuck is this motherfucker? Who the fuck is he talking about? Yeah, so where is this coming from? CIA.gov. And what does it say? Well, the King of Jordan, of course he's a CIA ass. Duh. What kings in the world aren't in the present day? Monarchies are tools in our day. So that's why, there's no point really in like supporting monarchy. Like as if there's some monarch out there, some LARP arc who's going to reestablish some Christian kingdom or something. Anyway, that's also in Time Magazine. You can go to just Google Time Magazine, CIA assets, and it'll tell you the history of Jordan. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is that the King of Jordan is the descendant of the Hashashashashim. If you didn't know. So if you're new to this is the kind of analysis that we do at Jay's Analysis. We look at the games, the movies, the pop culture, and we look at what's real and what's not real. Okay, where are we at? So that's Assassin's Creed. If you want the full treatment, go read my essay. And I know that the essay is of the movie, but whatever. That's good enough. Next on the list is virtual worlds. I did want to touch on this. Did you ever read the book by Tad Williams, Otherworld? I used to read a lot of fantasy, back when I was like 18, 17, 16. And there's some really interesting things in Tad Williams' book. And he was a little bit ahead of his time in terms of what he foresaw. But he saw the connection between shamanism and virtual worlds. No, not that book. Otherworld by Tad Williams. There's something to that. Excuse me, Otherland. Pardon me. It's been a long time since I read this. But there's a fascinating section in here about because when people do drugs, they see other versions of reality, right? We all know this. When people dream, they go to this realm. There seems to be a connection between these realms. Are these realms completely real, or are they completely in our minds? I think that there's no easy answer to that, and it's something in between. So perhaps the realms of our mind, or our subconscious, or the sleep realms are a different ontological status between real and not real. Maybe not everything is in that kind of black-white category. So I would actually, this is just my own personal speculations, right? So I would say the dream realm has a degree of ontological existence that is not the same as the waking state. It's not as real as that, but it's also not completely not real. And I don't pretend to have all the answers as to what's going on. I don't know if any human really does. Does any human exactly know? I don't think the scientific elite, I don't think they know what dreams really are. I mean, I know, yeah, our mind is working out, stuff in our subconscious. I know all that, but I'm just saying, what is the ontological status of dreams? I mean, they do affect us in some way. Anyway, but Tad seemed to realize there was a connection between virtual worlds, dream worlds, and shamanic worlds, drug worlds, or whatever. This is an interesting question. And I ponder it every now and then. So sometimes fiction, science fiction, whatever, fantasy, it's useful because it can posit ideas outside the box that typically we might think seem impossible. Or how could that be? Well, maybe there's a way that it could be that we don't usually expect, or that we weren't. There's a way that something can be the case that we don't understand how it is the case, is what I'm trying to say. Like, if you'd asked me certain questions 10 years ago, I would have been like, dude, I don't even understand how that's possible. Topics I've learned in philosophy or theology or whatever that now I have answers to that 10 years ago I wouldn't have even understood, because I didn't even have the right categories to understand it that way. So perhaps when it comes to these very more esoteric, difficult issues, like what is the dream world, what's its ontological status, this kinds of very, esoteric questions or whatever, maybe we can get insights at times from fiction. And I've had this weird thing where a lot of times I have dreams that are like video games, and I don't play a whole lot of video games. So I'm not exactly sure why I have dreams that are like games, but I don't know, just another weird element to this. But this is, let's see, I forgot what was next. Oh, I did want to mention Tomb Raider, because I did a stream where I was commenting on Tomb Raider, and it was actually a really good stream. And then I didn't, oh no, not another one. Now see, why does this happen to me? Why do I have to get porn bots? This is ridiculous. Remember when the flat earth bots attacked my channel? There was like 50 of them taking over. Yeah, I guess I do need a mod. Okay, so we got rid of that bot. Deus Ex. Aquinas is in Deus Ex. That's interesting. Yeah, so I can't, it's hard to do the talk and then also, but see, who do I trust to be a mod? I don't, Have I debated Edward Fesser? No. No serious academics are going to debate me. Although somebody's trying to set up by the way, there was the guy who was trying to set up the debate with Jim Lacaudas. He emailed me and he was like, I know that you declined a debate with Mr. Lacaudas. I didn't decline a debate with Jim Lacaudas. I asked him to debate the way everybody else debates nowadays, which is on YouTube or in audio or an actual debate, not a written debate. And Jim Lacaudas said he can't do debate because he has hiccups. What? So I didn't decline the debate. I told him to do the debate the way everybody else debates, which is on YouTube. And he said, no, he can't do that because he has hiccups. So, everybody is getting the porn bots. Okay, good. That's not just me. Anyway, so I didn't decline the debate. And somebody was trying to, but when it comes to people like Fesser and academics, like they're boomers, dude. They're interested in their careers, and they think that the old system of doing things and being academically approved and all that shit, that doesn't matter anymore. You think 20 years from now, all that academic shit's going to matter? It's not going to matter. The Latin academics are reading me? good. I mean, I would debate any of them. I'll debate Ed Fesser. And this guy, so the guy who was trying to set up the debate with Jim Licautis said, I found someone else, but he doesn't want to do a debate. He will only let you interview him. Let me interview him? Dude, come on. He'll let you interview him. I'm not interested in interviewing some random ass dude who's okay. So he's a professor. Well, good for him. But like, the academic world is becoming less and less relevant. The academic world has not mattered for a long time because the academic world, and by the way, why do you think all these people leave academia? Jordan Peterson, JF, there's a whole bunch of people. Me. Why do you think we leave academia? Because it's the old way of doing things and it doesn't matter anymore. Now, there will always be books and publishers and universities. But even when you go to the university, they just try to get you to do online classes. So what's the point? Anyway, we will be doing Super Chats here in a minute. But I did want to mention this. So now, the last Tomb Raider, and I did a whole stream for like 3 hours, and it was a fun game, but did you notice who the bad guys were? Trinity. And who was Trinity? Well, they were the ones that wanted to set up civilization, and they're weapons contractors. Okay, I get it. You want to do the, critique the military-industrial complex stuff. That's fine. But they specifically wanted it to be Christian-themed, as if all Christianity is equated to the military-industrial complex, and all they want to do is subjugate indigenous peoples. So if you remember the plot, Lara Croft has to team up with a bunch of indigenous peoples to overthrow the Trinity. It was really absurd, totally Gnostic. And then the guy who was running the Trinity Corporation was mastering all the indigenous people's occult rituals to gain power and to be deified. So he was using the occult secrets to gain technological advantage to oppress. So basically, a fun game, but a woke Gnostic message. Thank you for the love in the chat there, Allie. Appreciate that. We're getting nerdy tonight. Yes, this is the new Lara Croft one. So that's the plot of that game. So I just spoiled the game, by the way. If you beat he looks like the guy in Temple of Doom at the end. Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva. Kalima, Kalima Shakti De. That movie should be banned, right? Shouldn't they ban Temple of Doom? That has like caricatures, stereotypes. Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva. Misa Jones. They took the stones from here. They took the stones from here. They took the stones from between your legs. Anyway. Oh, so watch this little Tomb Raider clip where we have the Illuminate Confirm.
It's like I would film things like that. I would encourage like everybody, all different types of sexual. But there is that thing where it's like a lot of people misunderstand me with S&M and they think it's super. And I have to like explain to people how.
Wrong clip, but that still works.
Like where it's more like you're tied down because you need to like be able to like have somebody hold you down and keep you still, or like you would fight something out, or like be able to heal once you're beaten, like or something. It's like it comes from that real place of like. As opposed to being accessories or something. It's like with tattoos and things. Like I've always known there's like that time where everybody's like, oh, I have tattoos, and after a while, you're like, you can explain them and they can mean something. It's just comes from that real place. Yeah, I don't know. I only saw that film she brought over that night. People or like dark or like that kind of, you know. But it's a great thing to be able to like see everybody.
All right, so I'm not going to play that whole clip because, yeah, I know. Yeah. So I'm not advocating this dumb channel, but here is the clip. Shut up. I'm not a boomer. I'm only a boomer in living in Florida. That's it. I know. It's a little bit behind, bro. I know that. So I have to mute the mic when I play the clip. That's the only way to do it. And the chat is a little bit behind, so don't worry. I see the chat, but I don't want to play that whole clip. So here in the chat, I'll give you guys the full. We'll get to Final Fantasy. We'll get to all that. So there's the full clip of Miss Angelina talking about her escapades. It sounds like she was just at a sex party. So I'm not advocating this dumb channel's video title, "Illuminate Sacrifice." It doesn't say that. She just talks about some weird ritual. So you can go watch that full clip. I put it in the chat for you. Yes, I know there's a delay. I'm not muted. Hello? Can you hear me? See? Right, so John Voight, yeah, weird stuff going on there. But in the movie... And I had the clip of the movie here somewhere. Oh, here it is. She says, I got to figure out how I can play. I can't play this whole clip. So I'm going to play a little bit of this clip. So here we go. All right. So there we go. You can watch that full clip if you want. Just go look up Tomb Raider, Illuminate, Confirm. Tomb Raider, right? And you'll find it. Tomb Raider is an awful movie. I mean, it's hilariously bad. I mean, it is bad, but funny bad. But it's interesting that they actually filmed that sequence at the Royal Naval College, which is fascinating. So, again, explicit video game movie Illuminate reference. And they make it very clear in the movies when they do these things. And it's not any different from the fact that, oh, well, it's Hollywood doing the movie. Hollywood and the video game complex are merging. That's why all the A-listers are going and doing video games now, right? Like Keanu. So let's watch this one. I got to get the rhythm right of having to mute the mic so that I can play the clip and also watch the clip with you guys. It's kind of confusing. So that's why I don't usually do all the clips, is that my mind wants to focus on what I'm saying. So let's watch the new Keanu Reeves. Whoa. And this is what everybody was going crazy over. Cyberpunk 2077. All right, so let's watch this and then we'll dissect it.
V, my man, you made it. You blowing up all over the news. Are you alone?
I just want the money.
You got the chip? All right, start her up, Bug. Why don't you go to the bathroom, wash up, we gonna be with you in a minute. What? Oh, come on, man. Your neck, it's a mess.
While hotel security has yet to comment, we do know the suspect seems to have fled the scene.
Initiating combat mode.
Go!
Destination confirmed.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about! Alright, in and out! We're rich! Oh, we are going to the major leagues, Jack! Jack? Oh, No. Okay, get to a clinic, now.
Mr. Wells' condition is critical.
Go!
Immediate medical help is
okay.
required.
Just hold on. Hey, just think about all the good that we're gonna have, huh? I'm sorry. Take the chip decks.
Every corporal cop in this city is gonna be blasting down these doors after what you and your psycho friend did. We didn't need all this tension, damn it.
Wake the up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Please welcome Keanu Reeves.
All right, so there comes Kinko Reeves out of the smoke like it's WWF. Can you hear me? Am I muted? Yeah, so I'm not sure why this is such a big deal. People were like, Keanu Reeves is making a comeback. Comeback? Dude, he's been in John Wick like $1 zillion franchise. What do you mean a comeback? Did you know that in real life, Kinko Reeves has been on that bus from Speed for the last 30 years? And that's why he looks so old now. Is because if you drive in a bus at 90 miles an hour for 30 years straight, you will age quicker. Scientific fact. So I don't know why this clip is that interesting. This clip looks like every 90s hacker movie ever, and it's very Matrix. Did you notice how Matrix it was? Right? Like the Cyberpunks come to Neo's door and they knock on it, and it's like the same type of thing. And then he opens it up, and it's Rick Ross. Basically, this game is going to feature Rick Ross. And Rick Ross asked for chips, and I'm thinking, what kind of potato chip does Rick Ross want? But no, it's the implantable microchip that Rick Ross wants. Basically, this looks like the plot of every 90s hacker movie ever. In the future, everybody looks like Little Peep. Did you notice that? Little Peep is the pattern for all future people. You have an implantable microchip, of course. We all know that's coming. That's what the Pentagon planned decades and decades ago. And so we get what? What's the message of the Matrix? Anarcho-Gnosticism. This excellent book called Esoteric Hollywood 2 that you see here and here. It has my extensive analysis of the Matrix trilogy. Revolutionary Anarcho-Gnosticism. So the game's hype is based on the studio that's making it. Their Witcher series got a pretty large following. Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. And it looked very similar to Detroit, too, by the way, which I know that's not the same. I don't keep up with what studios are making what game. I don't know any of that stuff. But what was my other notes? Did you notice that Rick Ross had a lot of gold? Gold all over my chain. Everyone in the future looks like Little Peep. That's my only notes. And then Kinko shows up to We Join the Rebellion. Yeah, big deal. Not sure why that's such a big deal. But if you played Detroit, which is one of these kind of things where the game is actually they're trying to integrate choose your own adventure style stuff. Remember, Bandersnatch did this gamification of everything. Where did I put that clip? Los Illuminados, Call of Duty. No, we did that clip. We did that. There was a clip I had of. Oh, let's watch the Deus Ex clip. This is interesting because there's two different Deus Ex clips that we want to watch. One of them doesn't have any sound, I think maybe this one. But I think it has subtitles. Let's watch this. So this is the end of the game. And hopefully the subtitles show up. You'll see what I mean. Now this franchise, of course, is kind of surprising for what they actually put into the plot of the game. I trust you've been able to find yourself a place within the organization, right? There's a vaccine. Oh, we have the whole vaccine stuff there. This is essentially the Illuminate. Confirm. We have a great number of agencies who in turn operate other agencies. I gotta find the other Deus Ex clip. That one is even more revealing. Yeah, here it is. So as you see, they go on to discuss the fact that, okay, hopefully this other clip works too. The Illuminati is there to run everything, blah, blah, blah. They're going to forgive our sins. They stand in the place of God. Now, this is a hugely popular franchise, if you don't know. But the whole thing was about transhumanism and about rebelling against transhumanism. But it had a lot of these themes of like the New World Order and all this stuff being run. And he's going to explain who their organization is. We'll start over, have a reset on society. He says, we are the invisible hand. We are the Illuminati. We come before and after, and we are forever. And eventually, we will lead them into the day, talking about humans, right? When they're free, better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven, John Milton. So, no questions about what Deus Ex is about. Now let's watch this other Deus Ex clip that has even more revealing facts in it.
You can relax, JC. I told the troops to stand down. That's right. I'm working for the NSF. I'll meet you at the 747.
Excellent work. I underestimated your abilities. You work for the NSF? Listen to what I've got to say. We don't have much time. You got that right. UNATCO will have a team here in a few minutes. The Grey Death is a man-made virus. Everyone up to the President is at UNATCO's mercy as long as UNATCO controls the supply of ambrosia. You believe that? We have proof. We need to get the ambrosia to Hong Kong. Heard of Tracer Tong? He can help us synthesize it ourselves. You better step away from the jet. Your boss is my next objective. Join us, JC. Talk to Lebedev. He can convince you. Get on the plane. We're almost ready to go. Blackmail of the U.S. government could not possibly escape the notice of the United Nations. Don't be so quick to trust the UN. Are you kidding? The UN's about the only chance we've got these days if the U.S. spirals into another civil war. A pretext, nothing more. The whole project of world government, going back to the League of Nations, has been funded and manipulated mainly by wealthy bankers. Is that so? Remember that the UN itself was built on land donated by John D. Rockefeller. Get on board. A UNATCO security squad will be here any minute. The wealthy have always been the ones to profit from one world government. More later. You better get moving. The United Nations' secret goal... Well, this is David Rockefeller's description from a half a century ago. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers. The UN was founded not to end war, but to gradually dissolve national governments and replace them with a globalist meritocracy. Average people never benefit from government and business on a scale they can't even understand. Go! Go!
I surrender.
What?
Easy now, Agent. UNATCO has a policy against killing unarmed prisoners. We have much to learn from each other.
We're assuming control of the airfield. The vaccine will be returned to the international authorities.
Don't you want to hear why your brother came over to our side?
He makes his own decisions.
You know he wouldn't betray UNATCO without a reason.
Good work. Now finish the job.
He surrendered. He's an unarmed prisoner. UNATCO policy protects him.
Terminate the prisoner, Agent. If you are too afraid, you are ordered to return to base on Manderley's authority. There is a helicopter waiting.
If you know something, just tell me.
The question you've got to ask, I'm surprised you haven't, is the obvious one. Who am I? Who made me, and for what purpose?
UNATCO has briefed me on my augmentations. Get to the point.
Return to base, Agent Denton. I will handle this.
Your parents were murdered precisely because they could have told you the correct answer to that question.
That's a pretty big claim.
You didn't have parents. The ones you knew were employees. You were made by a cabal of technophiles so crazed for power that they would control not only governments and people, but the chemistry of our bodies as well.
Leave us, Agent. Now.
Sounds like a picture-perfect description of the NSF.
Think bigger, Agent. Think global.
You have disobeyed a direct order.
Do you think it's an accident that the cure for the global plague is owned by a single corporation, and that it's kept so secret that only the tabloids dare print a story suggesting it exists?
The supply is limited. That doesn't mean there's a conspiracy.
But where does that corporation manufacture the cure? And where did your brother uncover the information that brought him over to our side?
Go on.
I can tell by the expression on your friend's face that she knows where I'm heading. UNATCO is completely correct to think that Tracer Tong will soon understand ambrosia. He was the one who was going to receive the shipment.
Why tell me all this?
I've said nothing that UNATCO won't find on this plane's computer. But here's the secret. This is what Paul was so interested to hear from Tracer Tong.
Manderley will be disappointed in your insubordination. That is what happens to a prisoner who tries to escape. Go to the helicopter now, Agent Denton. It is waiting at the airfield. Get to the helicopter. Manderley will want to see you.
All right. So some really kind of astonishing lines there. And if you don't know, Deus Ex is a first-person shooter. It makes me dizzy. I can't really play it. I get kind of sick when I play it. But I did try. I did beat a few levels. But basically, it's a dystopian thing where you have deadly plague in the future, the Great Death. It's befallen mankind. They have a vaccine, ambrosia, and it's tightly controlled in terms of its distribution by a government that is a top-down tyranny. Then you have these kind of terror groups that are capitalizing on this, and the increasing activity of these terror groups, so-called, urges the world government to create a United Nations UNATCO. And then the main guy, JC, ends up kind of entangled in this vast web of the Illuminate, Confirm, the Knights Templar, Chupacabras, aliens, black helicopters, and all of the conspiracy lore. So a lot going on in Deus Ex with the very bad Russian accents. My character from yesterday did better. And there was, let's see, I think one last thing I wanted to mention before. I know we didn't get to Kingdom Hearts, but we've almost gone for 2 hours, so I'm getting kind of tired. But one last little gem here. Do you remember Resident Evil 4? Number of 4. Who were the bad guys in Resident Evil 4? I know some of the nerds in the chat are going to remember. Who were the bad guys in Resident Evil 4? Final Fantasy? No, we'll do Final Fantasy next time. Maybe we'll do another one of these. But if you want a fuller treatment, by the way, I'm going to read the super chat too. A fuller treatment of what they're talking about in that Deus Ex clip, go listen to the Quigley lectures because I cover that in depth. Resident Evil 5 was they called that one racist, by the way, because of the Africa theme and the T-virus getting out in Africa. But in Resident Evil 4, it was a different bad guy. hopefully this clip has some imagery to it. I thought it had more. I mean, this is telling you the story. And by the way, it's actually out of Spain that the Illuminate does have an origin. If you know about the conversion eventually of Ignatius Loyola of the Jesuits, of Jesuit fame, he was actually a member of one of these esoteric groups, and there was a group in Spain prior to the formation of the Jesuits called the Illuminados, and they were an esoteric Spanish order. Probably into Hermeticism, probably related to the Kabbalistic groups in Spain around these times. So in the narrative of Resident Evil 4, Umbrella Corporation is actually run behind the scenes by this elite occult group, and they're into like human sacrifice. And, I mean, it's pretty. It's the thing about this one was that it was overtly satanic. Like the cult is literally into sacrificing humans, and they worship this plague. They worship death. It's a death cult. So this game was pretty damn woke. It was a lot of fun. I remember playing the crap out of this game. Loved it. So let's see if there's a little bit. Hopefully they show some of the rituals. Like they even show a lot of these weird rituals going on. I can't remember what's in this clip. Yeah, here we go. So here's your Illuminate. So I know we didn't do all these yet, but we didn't do humans. And by the way, the we're not going to watch all that video. It's just some nerd who's profiled all the characters. But the guy who runs the cult is a midget. That was the funny part of Resident Evil 4. It's like, oh, there's all this creepy stuff, and then the guy who runs the cult's a midget. It's like, that's not really creepy. But he's possessed by a gigantic demon. And then we didn't do Detroit, but Detroit is just total transhumanist propaganda, anti-human. And the whole plot of the game, this choose-your-own-adventure version of gaming now, is the plot to AMC's show Humans. Literally the same plot. The green-eyed Asian in Humans. Reminds me of Lopan. Remember Lopan in Big Trouble in Little China? So yeah, we didn't exactly get to the ones that I thought we would do. We'll do that next time. If you guys enjoy this, we'll do another one of these. It was a fun stream. I'll read the super chats. Let's see what we got. And since we did Mario and Resident Evil, next time we'll do Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy and some other kind of, whatever else I come up with. But yeah, the Resident Evil 4 is actually genuinely creepy. I remember actually playing that, and when I beat it, when you're in the castle, that's the part where you actually jump, especially when the girl's sneaking around in the dark in the castle, and there's like bumps in the night. All right, so we got Space Reptile, $1. Thank you, Space Reptile. Justin Stam, Space Reptile, another $1. Thank you, Space Reptile. Justin Stam, you had me at what's up? Remember that beer commercial? What's that? Moses, but thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. Moses Ursus, $10. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. And when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now, we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Yeah, I am not advocating, by the way, to all you guys who worship gaming, to all you guys who worship sports, get a life, brah. If this is your life, you are wasting your time and your life. But this is a gigantic aspect of culture, which is replacing movies. Video games and sports are 10 times bigger than movies. Except for, these Disney blockbusters or whatever. So movies don't even really matter anymore. And I think that the gaming world and the movie world are trying to meld, and you're getting these things like Bandersnatch, and how are we going to have, and the live streaming world, they're all kind of trying to meld these worlds into the future of entertainment. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. And we can look at times too, as we said, video games definitely, to see where they're going to try to take us. So thank you for that $10, Moses. I appreciate that. And yes, gaming itself as a lifestyle is a bit immature. Nothing inherently wrong with leisure, but if these things are idols to you, then you need to move away from them, just as anything else could be an idol, right, in your life. But it is relevant to comment on these things because a gigantic portion of the culture is enmeshed in video games. Womp Womp 2A's. Can you elaborate on genetic memory? Yeah, see the essay? Look up the essay on Assassin's Creed that I did. I'll put that in the chat again for you here, and you can see the Scientific American essay I linked talking about genetic memory. Eric S., 5 Canadian. I'm not religious, but I want to understand the Christian moral system. Where should I begin understanding the philosophy of Christians? Aquinas? No. No. The philosophy of Christianity, I would say start with Seraphim Rose's book, Nihilism. That's the best introduction I could think of to Christian philosophy. And I did a talk on that book. If you find the book a little difficult, if you're new to philosophy, I also offer tutoring at my website. If you want to do Christian philosophical tutoring, I do that. But you can look up the lecture I did on nihilism by Seraphim Rose. And that is what I would say is a good place to start. Don't start with Thomas Aquinas. No, sir. Next time we'll get more into like the Kabbalistic stuff with the Qliphoth and the Nobodies. Did you know the Nobodies in Kingdom Heart is they're the husks from Kabbalah? So check that out, Eric. That's where you want to start. Autocrat Justinian, $5. Are you familiar with the theory that computer chips are based on the layout of Solomon's temple? How true do you think that is? I saw a meme one time of Akhenaten's pyramids or whatever that looks like a computer chip. I don't think that they literally saw Akhenaten's thing and said, let's make the computer chip based on that. But there is a micro aspect to how they developed the computer chip, that it does work like a little city. So yes, I think that's true. I don't know if it's based on Solomon's temple though. But there is a sense in which it's true, in the sense that it's a little mirrored world. Our miscellaneous BS, $10. Yup. In the words of Bad Baby, yup. Are you calling the audience a bunch of hoes? Yup. Cash me outside. How about that? You're saying the audience are a bunch of hoes. Do you like my what's his name? After about 2 hours of talking, my mind goes to mush. Dr. Phil, did you like my Dr. Phil? Is it pretty good? Are you calling the audience a bunch of hoes? Yup. Catch me outside. How about that? TB88, $15. In Half-Life and Half-Life 2, yeah, I never did play Half-Life. Science gone wrong brings transdimensional alien invasion. Evil aliens set up human puppet government founded on Darwinism population control. There we go. Woke. Human slaves are called the transhumans. Dang, dude. That's pretty woke. I'd say that's woke. So we got Deus Ex and Half-Life with pretty woke takes. Womp womp, 2 A's. Did you end up watching Utopia? You'll love it. I'm almost done with the first season, so we will be watching it. I just haven't gotten back to it. Been so busy, man. Trying to do everything. Nano Nerd, 7 CAs. Hi, Deus Ex seems to be predictive programming for the Cyberpunk transhuman NWO. Well, we saw Cyberpunk was, trying to prep us for this. Like the Matrix. The Matrix is the ultimate Cyberpunk hacker prep thing, right? That's probably what we're going to see people like moving into these niches. And it's probably going to be like the government versus the cyberpunks or something. Esoteric Hollywood 3 should be about esoteric gaming. Thank you, Marl Karks. That's a good idea. I may include an entire section of gaming in the next one. So if you guys will buy part 2, then there'll be a part 3. And by the way, part 2 is better than part 1. And if you buy it from my website, you get signed copies, which makes it worth 16,000 Soviet-backed crypto coin. Did you know there's a Soviet-backed crypto? That's what Putin pays me in. And Soviet-backed crypto coins come free with every copy of Esoteric Hollywood 2. Nakafuras Focus Part 2, $5. Shin Megami Tensei games like Devil Survivor, Persona 5, Nocturne are very esoteric. Lots of demons, mythology, and Jungian themes. Interesting. I'm not familiar with the studios and the games they put out. I mean, I know what EA and Ubisoft and things. I know about that, but I don't know these foreign esoteric game things. But thank you. I will keep that in mind, and maybe I should look into one of those. Kaiju Koshai, $5. Thank you, Kaiju Koshai. Internet LARPer, $5. Since we're on Bugman stuff, any interest in reviewing Ghost in the Shell, Akira, or Psycho-Pass 1? I watched Ghost in the Shell when it came out back in 90 whatever, 5, 6, whenever that came out. I thought that was pretty good. I've watched all of Mio Hayazaki's movies, and he's pretty good. And I know everybody has said, probably 100 people have said, when are you going to do an analysis of Neo Genesis Evangelion? Yeah, I know. Whatever. I'll do that eventually, I promise. But yeah, Ghost in the Shell should be done. I've never seen Akira. I don't know what Psycho-Pass 1 is. But yeah, we do need to eventually do those. So see how there's just a list. I've got a giant list of things to do. But I appreciate that. Thank you, LARPer. We will probably do... I think when the movie Ghost in the Shell came out, I intended to do an analysis, and I went and I was like, this is just the Matrix meets Blade Runner. Anyway. But I know that the original cartoon is better. Tactical Boomerism, $5. Are you familiar with how Stan Lee based many of his universe characters on pagan myth? Yes, and used them to tell parables from the Hebrew Bible. That would make sense. All right. I mean, I guess Stan Lee was Jewish, so I would assume that there was some aspect of that in the superhero characters. And I knew that there was, I mean, superheroes are, yes. We talked about that actually many times over the years, that they're just representations of archetypes and the classical myths. And you can tell stories with classical myths. I actually have an essay where I did this too, trying to tell biblical stories with, I'll show it to you. Serpentine. With mythology. It's called The Mystery of the Serpentine Mirror. This is a good essay I did a long time ago, where I was kind of doing that very thing. So I'll put that in the chat. So check out this essay I did a long time ago, which is pretty good. Kind of doing the same thing. Will I have Ken and me on? Yeah, I'm sure Ken and me and I will do another podcast in the near future. So there's that essay. Let's see. Tactical Boomerism, $5. How Spielberg did the same thing with film using symbolism and naming conventions. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. We have a gigantic section on Spielberg in here. part 1, right? What did we do? We did in Esoteric Hollywood 1, we covered H.G. Wells and Spielberg. We did E.T., Close Encounters, AI, and Minority Report. So, yes, but thank you, Tactical Boomerism. If you don't have Esoteric Hollywood, get yourself some copies at Jay's Analysis in the shop. While we're here, real quick, I would add, like I said, I will be at the event in Texas, July 2nd, Minds of Men. Go check that out. Here's the link if you want to order the book. You can get signed copies directly from Jay's Analysis. Don't get it from Amazon. Authors don't do any good on Amazon. So there's the shop. You can get signed copies of Esoteric Hollywood 1 and 2. Subscribe to Jay's Analysis for the full talks, lectures. The second part of Wisdom of Sirach will be up tomorrow. This was kind of a test thing, just to test out an initial stream on games, video game analysis. We had so many requests for this. And I saw, because Owen's tweets did so good, why not talk about his tweet thing that he did on Mario, and then I'll do my analysis of some games that just kind of initially popped into my mind as being esoteric, and the movies too, because they relate. It's all entertainment. Cool beans. So hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully it was fun. If it was, we'll continue this theme. We'll do more on gaming. Also, if you want to subscribe to Jay's Analysis, you don't have to just use credit card and PayPal. There's also the Litecoin and Bitcoin addresses below. For the backups, there's the BitChute address, and there's my Twitch channel. I have been doing some video game streams lately, so you can follow me on Twitch if you want to just chat philosophy while I try to meet the requirements for Twitch for monetization. Tactical Boomerism, $5. Will you engage with Mark Brahman and his gem interpretation? I don't know what that is, but probably. Maybe I'll reach out to him and see if he wants to come on and have a discussion or debate or something. I don't know what the gem interpretation is, but I think I've heard Mark Brahman one time talk about something on a stream one time, but I'm not really familiar with. I know he talks about like ancient Buddhist stuff, maybe, or something like that. Is that what he talks about? Is that right? Was this good? You see boobies in these games? Boobies. Oh, Brutal Slayer. We got some more super chats. Brutal Slayer, $10. Can you please comment on the recent 1 Peter 5 article refuting orthodoxy? I've not seen this. Let's see what... See, they're having to respond to this because what we're talking about is getting so popular. And a lot of people are looking at orthodoxy because of Jay's analysis. I'm not... Oh, is it this? I left the Orthodox Church? Yeah, for Francis. If you left Orthodoxy for Francis, I can't help you, bro. But Tim Flanders. More like Ned Flanders. I don't know who Tim Flanders is, but... So, the article... This article has 2 comments... 1.5k shares. Okay, you know what? I'll probably just do a stream and refute this article point by point. But thank you for mentioning that. That's a good idea. So we'll have to respond to Ned Flanders on why he prefers Francis. Dude, I mean, that title itself is self-refuting. Like, that's the strongest argument I could think of right now. If you prefer Francis to orthodoxy, later, bro. Good luck with that. Yeah. I mean, these guys are clowns, dude. But thank you for pointing that out. That will make for an easy refutation. The best apologist for orthodoxy is actually Francis. Francis is making more converts to orthodoxy than I could ever dream of. But thank you for that. Also, thoughts on geoengineering? Well, I have a whole section in book 2. This has an entire annotated, and I go to academic sources on geoengineering, so you can find that there. But thank you for that, Brutal Slayer, $10. Appreciate that. And yes, I will try to respond to Ned Flanders' worship of Francis. Moral Carks, $1.99. Debate I've already offered the debate. Thank you, Moral Clarks. I'm not frustrated at you. I'm just saying I have offered the debate to EMJ countless times. He won't do it. This was a tweet argument 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I said he won't debate. He replied by saying, you won't debate Jim Licautis. No, that's not what happened. Jim Licautis won't debate because he has hiccup problems. I'm not making that up. He has hiccups. He can't do a live debate like every human being and every Catholic theologian in the Middle Ages did, and everybody in Byzantium in the Middle Ages did, an actual conversational debate. He wants to have this written out 30-page written. No, I'm not doing that. This is 2019, bro. People debate on YouTube. I'm not going to write out 30 pages of debate with you. Go on a live stream like everybody else does, like I do. It's easy. Oh, but he can't because he has a hiccup disorder. A hiccup. What the is a hiccup disorder? By the way, if you got a hiccup disorder, maybe you need to look into the carnivore diet, bruh. So, no, I didn't decline a debate. He declined an actual debate and wanted to have some 50,000 page written exchange. I don't have time for that. And E. Michael Jones actually did decline a debate. So, and then when he said, why are you trying to debate everybody? Like 30, 40, 50 people liked that comment. Bro, I'm here. Anybody can come on and debate anytime they want to, but we all know that nobody wants to come on and debate because they won't win. You can make all the fuss. We could talk about all this other stuff. Oh, it's you do this, you do that. You like your own tweets. Who gives a shit? Come beat me in a debate. But you can't. So E. Michael Jones won't debate. Who is the other guy? Some Catholic Answers guy. Trevor? I don't know. Trent? Debate Trent. I said, okay, let's debate Trent. And then Trent says, I will debate you in 3 months as a discussion. Come on the Catholic Answers podcast for 30 minutes. What? Dude. I mean, yeah, you get, 50,000 views or whatever on your videos, but I'm not going to come on how you can't have a debate in 30 minutes on orthodoxy on your podcast? What? These guys are all boomer, dude. They live in the boomer world of and like William Albrecht. William Albrecht says, yeah, I'll debate you, bro, in 6 months on a radio show that nobody listens to. Come on my damn channel, dude. We got over 40,000 subscribers. It's easy to set up a debate. What are you afraid of? Now, if you're interested in what's true, there's nothing to be afraid of. Because if you're interested in what's true, then you want to be wrong. You want to know that you're wrong, I'm saying. You want to be right, and so that you want to therefore find out if you're wrong. So it's very easy to set up a debate. None of these people want... Look, dude, I've asked countless people to debate. And again, remember, guys, anybody who's a bigger name person is not going to ever debate a lesser known person because they have nothing to gain and everything to lose. So Stefan Molyneux is not ever going to do a debate. Jordan Peterson's not ever going to do a debate. Who else is there? Matt Dillahunty is not ever going to do a debate. Destiny is not going to do a debate. Who else? I don't know. Pick whoever that's a big name person. They're not ever going to do a debate. Why would they? Number one, none of those people are trained in philosophy at a graduate level. Not a single one of them. Robert Sungenis, he won't debate divine simplicity. He said, I will debate you on the filioque. Well, I said you can't really just debate filioque because it relies on other issues. Didn't hear back. So none of these people are going to debate. By the way, I do respect Sungenis. He would be actually a useful, profitable debate. But none of these other people are going to debate. Don't you get how that works? Why would they? Why would you debate when you're not going to win? I'm not being arrogant. I'm just saying, that's how it is. Eric Ibarra, I've invited him 20 times to debate. He won't do it. So there you go. Tactical Boomerism, $2. Jewish esoteric moralism. Oh, Aryan versus Semitic myth. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember. That's what the one thing I heard from Mark Brahman was him talking about Aryan mythos versus Jewish mythos, and I don't think he understands the Bible or what he's talking about. No, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't know ancient myths, but no, I've studied ancient mythology at a graduate level. I have taken many classes on classicism, the classics. That's why I offer tutoring in Plato and Aristotle and these other. Now, I'm not an expert in like the Vedas or anything like that, but I understand the myths, brah. But yeah, I would like to debate. I'd debate Mark Brahman if he wants to do a debate. But the one time that was proposed, I think somebody said do a chat. I don't think it was an actual debate. It was a chat. And then this guy who was trying to set up the debate with Lakaudis, who says I didn't decline a debate with Jim Lakaudis. Do I need to dig up the emails and show? When have I ever declined a debate with anybody who wasn't a lunatic? Never. So I can't remember any instances of declining a debate ever. So no EMJ and no Jim Lakaudis. I didn't decline. I said do the debate on YouTube. Why would I write a 30-page debate out when I can do a video debate that 10, 20, 30, 50,000 people will watch? What? You guys are in Boomerland. Anyway, Kaiju Koshai, $5. Riverdale, brah. Yeah, somebody was mentioning Riverdale on the Twitch stream that we were doing when I was playing Kingdom Hearts. Maybe that was you. I don't know. But yeah, people keep saying, I don't know anything. I know that it's the Archie, right? Archie and Valerie and all that. But I've not seen anything from Riverdale, but I guess I need to check it out. Wayfaring Stranger, £2. Thank you, Wayfaring Stranger. And again, a reminder to you guys. So debates are very easy to set up. We can do it any way that you want to do it. If you want to do it in a formal setting, we can do it. If you want to do it in a conversational setting, we can do it. If you want to, I'm not doing a written debate of 30 pages where I got to spend 2 weeks writing out. That's just stupid. By the way, I'm not writing anymore for free. I published 2 books, written an entire season, 2 seasons of a TV show. I don't do writing for free anymore. If you want my writing, I'm established as a writer. I'm not writing shit for free. It's a waste of time. So if you want to set up a debate, that's how we do it. I'm not mean, but I am the shark when it comes to debate. If Nick is the knife, as many of the commenters on YouTube have said, I'm the shark. And the shark will swim and let you do your thing. And then he will trap you by questioning your presuppositions. So come into the shark's waters and lose a debate. Please come lose. I'm here for you. But fear not, because as I ingest you into my shark body, as we tear your bad arguments limb from limb, when we vomit you back out, it is for your own good. So, Jaws here, reporting from the Shark Tank. And yeah, I don't know who the next debate person will be, but hopefully, I mean, there's always an open floor. That's what I'm trying to say. There's always an open floor, bro. There's always an open floor. And people say, you're just debating people easy to... No. There's always open floors. Look, we had Dr. Feingold on. We had the great conversation with Classical Theist, right? I'm not just debating people who are dum-dums. Those guys aren't dum-dums. JF's not dumb. But people who aren't dumb also know when they wouldn't lose a debate. So, there you go. Bad Times at the El Royale was a good movie. The first time I watched it, I didn't catch a whole lot of esoteric stuff, but maybe I just missed it. So maybe I need to give that another viewing or something. But anyway, Wayfaring Stranger, another £2. Thank you, Wayfaring Stranger. Yeah, so for the 1,000th time, the people that you always say I need to debate have already declined. Now, perhaps if they're pestered enough, they will change their mind, but probably not. Because if they wanted to debate, they could. Because it's not hard to set up a debate. Anybody could come on the channel tomorrow, 2 days, 3 days, 5, anytime. Just say, hey, dude, so-and-so would like to chat, have a debate, conversation, formal. It doesn't matter. It's very easy. Anyway, but who wants to lose a debate? Only the people who are interested in truth, and that's what matters. As I always say, how do you win every debate? It's because you want to lose. And what does that mean? That means that you're seeking the truth. So that's how you win every debate. It's because you're seeking for the truth. All right, thank you guys. That's enough for tonight. Thank you for all those super chats. Much appreciated. A little bit of a different type of thing tonight, but we're having fun, branching out, doing new things. God bless. And I will talk to you